Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. First thing we're going to do is take roll. Vice Mayor,
Here.
Alderman Blanton.
Here.
Alderman Hanson.
Here.
Alderman Peterson.
Here.
Alderman Berger.
Present.
Alderman Brown.
Present.
Alderman Potts.
Present.
Alderman Baggett.
Present.
Mayor's here also. So tonight we'll begin with the invocation. I apologize that I knew we have a guest pastor that's going to lead us in prayer, and I apologize that I didn't recognize you and say something. So we'd ask you to introduce yourself when you lead the invocation, and then I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'd ask everybody to stand and please come to the microphone, Pastor.
Thanks for having me here tonight. Heavenly Father, I am grateful to live in a city like Franklin. Raised my children here, lived my life here, and I'm grateful for this amazing community that is not just known here now, but known around the country. I pray for the men and women that serve our city, that you would grant them wisdom to know what to do, courage to do it, and for protection over each of them, specifically their families and their children as well, for their physical safety as well as their emotional and spiritual safety as well. It's no small task that you have given them, and we know that the authority in this room was granted by you. We honor that and we thank you for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Would you introduce yourself?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm Darren Tyler at Conduit Church in South Franklin.
Pastor, we certainly appreciate your coming here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on the agenda is an opportunity for citizens to give comments for items that are not on the agenda. If you will line up at the podium as I call your name: Thomas Bell, Brenda Ammons, Elizabeth Crockett, Doug Mann, Tiffany White, and Lisa Alexander. And I'd ask you to try to limit your comments to 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thomas Bell, 177 Lancaster Drive. And I'm going to be speaking about the Middle 8 project. And again, I'm here to tell you I'm not about stopping it. I'm about improving it or looking at it and reducing it. So I'm not here to stop it. Additionally, about 70% of the people who reside in this historic district, the Franklin Road Historic District, are concerned about it, concerned on its scale, size, and scope. I attended the BOMA workshop, Matt, that you didn't attend. I took copious notes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I would recommend you go back and you look at it because it's chock full of great information. I heard multiple aldermen regret the height, the 6 stories at the Haven property. They debated the 101 Cool Springs project about how high it was. They've dropped it down to 3 stories, and they were still concerned about the height. They also talked about the traffic on the corner of Cool Springs and Mac Hatcher. And then the next topic was about the Middle 8, where they didn't really discuss the concern for a 6, possibly 7-story building in a historic district, nor did they really address the traffic concerns and the flooding concerns. And if we go back and we look, I know it's being piped out, Ms. Berger. It is being piped out, the floodwater. Where is it going? Where's it being piped to? These are concerns that we all have, and we'd like answers to it. And I know you're setting up another meeting, which will be fantastic, with the developer and city reps. The height, and there was not an argument, but a disagreement about what the height should be, a story, maximum, minimum heights for floors, stories, whatever. So I know they're talking about it, but the height is certainly a concern. I know my time's up. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Brenda Ammons. I've lived here since 1978, and I know several of you on the board and the mayor, and I am a retired school teacher. And that's where I'm coming from. My heart is for the schools, and we're proposing a small parcel of land to have a lot of people, supposedly affordable housing. However, I think I'd like to state these statistics. And Clyde, I taught with your wife.
Yes, you did.
Yes, we did. Yep. And Mr. Mayor, you knew my son. So, and you started a program very special to my heart, and I thank you for that. Our community is a great community to live in, and several people should live here. They should be able to live here, affordable, whatever. But anyway, I'm going to read what I have typed. But however, I was hoping I could get some of the other points of personal matter. I taught special needs children. I know Miss Brandy Blanton, and I know High Hopes, and what a wonderful facility that is. So there's no doubt I can't say enough good about what Franklin has. I can't say enough good about what we have offered. In '78, and we lived in Virginia Beach, and I moved here, I was like, I don't want to go there. Virginia Beach was building up like this town is now. But that was a long time ago when my babies were little. And when I came home, got them in the Franklin Special School District schools, and they did just as good as if they were in Virginia Beach, if not better, as time went on. So anyway, enough of that. I just want to state what I have in writing here, that Franklin is nationally recognized for its diverse historic architectural resources spanning in its award-winning Main Street, late 19th and early 20th century neighborhoods, historic cemeteries, rural farmsteads and corridors, archaeological sites, and Civil War resources. The preservation of these resources is of important to protecting Franklin's unique heritage. Absolutely. Is it my time up? Okay, sorry. But anyway, y'all know it's a good city, and y'all know, too, we still need to maintain a cap on all this growth.
Good afternoon. I'm Elizabeth Crockett, and I live at 166 Franklin Road. And I want all of you all to understand that we, the neighbors of the Middle 8 project, did not know anything at all about this project until late February. Then we all, the neighbors, all get a letter about this project. I had to go over and ask my neighbor what this letter meant. I couldn't even understand it. I'd never heard anything about it. So finally, 2 days after it was approved by the historic zoning, we get a letter, and we're allowed to get on a Zoom meeting. Lots of information, very little time for questioning. And for some reason, I feel this project has been pushed on us very, very quickly. And I'm not sure why everyone in downtown Franklin knew about this project way back when, and we, the neighbors, knew nothing about this project. This is really worrying me, why we did not know about this project. This project is way too big for 7 acres. This project will alter our neighborhood forever. I'm asking you to reconsider this project and come look at what 400 more cars and people will do to our area. Please come to our area and see. And my question is, do you want 200 more rental houses in your neighborhood? Do you want 200 to 300 more people in your neighborhood? And I'm just going to say, if you don't, please know we don't want that either. Thank you.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm Doug Mann. I've lived here in Franklin for 50 years, and it's good to see you guys again. You've heard a lot of concerns and things, but I have this feeling this whole thing is kind of like ready, fire, aim. I think we've kind of gotten ahead of the timing, and it's kind of like the old saying we used to have when I was in banking. If you get me in on the front, I'm your teammate. But if you get me in on the back, I'm your field judge, and I'm throwing the flag. So I think that's the feeling we have. And so maybe it's wrong, but that is feelings, and they're for real. My background was in banking, and I worked for several here in town. I learned the 3 biggest lies in banking. The check is in the mail. I'll cover that overdraft in the morning, and there'll be no changes after the merger. So I've been through that, and part of my job was to analyze loans and prepare for the committee and present loans, and I have some questions that I have no answers. The financial viability of the builder, the bank where they're borrowing, and what are those terms? We're headed from some serious financial situations in this country. Janet Yellen, get that name? Yellen? There's going to be a lot of yelling. She's the Secretary of Treasury. And we've got to be prepared, looking to the future when we make these decisions. And I don't know who is behind the financial part, but it is a concern for me. And so I know you guys are torn all sorts of ways. It's tough. It is tough. So we're just going to trust you and continue to believe for the best. But just understand there are some concerns about the financial viability of how the deal will progress. And I remember 2008, how things went south. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tiffany White. I own the property at 20 Daniels Drive. It's the first row home behind the townhomes at Jamison Station. I work as a realtor now, but in my prior career, I worked for a traffic engineering company, and I wrote traffic and parking studies. I've looked over the traffic study for the Middle 8 project, and I'm concerned that the traffic projections have been underestimated. TDOT annual traffic counts for the 3 count stations closest to the project site have gone down in recent years, even though we have experienced significant growth. Many drivers are avoiding Franklin Road and Liberty Pike in this area due to the streetscape construction. The traffic projections are possibly inaccurate due to the lower traffic counts for existing conditions. A new traffic study or a modification should be prepared once the streetscape project is complete. I've also looked over the parking study. This study details the city ordinance requirements for parking and also references national parking demand statistics. I believe the resulting parking demand from these national numbers is too low for our area. The recommendations of this study result in a 22% reduction in parking provided on site as compared to the numbers in the city ordinance. This creates the lowest use scenario that is not likely to be reality. Williamson County is the most affluent county in Tennessee. We are very attached to our vehicles. And there's a reason that the city's parking requirements are higher than the national numbers. It should also be noted that the actual parking counts at local apartment complexes were collected around midnight and assuming that the peak demand will happen overnight. Since the proposed development includes a restaurant, the peak parking demand may actually occur around dinner time. During the last 2 Saturday mornings, we have had cars parked all in front of my house on Daniels Drive. I fear if the factory doesn't have adequate parking, and then this new development doesn't have sufficient parking either, we will have a parking craziness, and my neighbors and I will have no overflow parking. We only have a garage. We do not have a driveway, and we are not part of Jamison Station, so we cannot use their parking garage. And I have handouts for y'all.
You'll give them to our recorder, and she'll make sure everybody gets those.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Alexander. My husband and I live at 160 Lancaster Drive, and I'm here to represent 150 families who've united to impact the Middle 8, the size and scope of this project. Families from Harpeth Meadows, Splendor Ridge, Franklin Road, Miles Manor, Jamison Station, and Daniels Drive. As local residents whose neighborhoods and neighbors have been affected by floodwaters, I would like to raise these concerns. The Middle 8 has proposed an underground parking garage that will go 2 stories down. Will the lowest floor be their stormwater pond? The adjacent lower neighborhood, including Daniels Drive, does not have a decent stormwater system as we speak. Additionally, there are no pipes next to the site to carry stormwater to the river. High-density site development, including buildings, parking garage slated for construction, will eat up the permeable soil on this parcel of land, increasing the chances of flooding for homes that sit along Old Liberty and Daniels Drive. Please be aware, the homes along Old Liberty sit at 26 feet below the construction site. Open space isn't the same as green space. And we fear that 30% open space will include ground floor, non-pervious surfaces such as plazas, courts, and sidewalks, which will increase runoff. Where will all this water go? Does it imperil the surrounding homes? Franklin Road has a new streetscape. It used to be that rainwater went into ditches, but now it goes into catch basins that directly drain into the Harpeth River without visible stormwater cleaning. This past week, it rained hard, and in a short downpour, it flooded Franklin Road in front of BJA Lower School. Again, where will the water go? This was my house 2 years ago. This is our barn that backs up to Harlansdale Farm. The next page shows, and I'll hand these over. This is the field that aligns the Harpeth River. This is the upper field next to my house that gets flooded when the storm water from the city, the drain across the street, flows
Yes, ma'am.
into
You'll
ours.
provide those to our recorder.
But thank you very much.
Jason Rowlett.
Good evening. My name is Jason Rowlett. I was born and raised in Nashville, but I've been a resident of Franklin since 2008. My daughter has been a resident of Franklin her whole life. She is a current student at the Covenant School in Nashville. I am joined here tonight by other Covenant parents to ask for the resignation of Alderman Gabrielle Hanson. And if she will not resign, we ask for her removal by this governing body. Alderman Hanson publicly slandered the victims of the March 27th massacre at our school. She has caused further pain and anguish to the surviving staff and families. I can personally tell this board every detail she talked about publicly was false. We parents walked the halls of Covenant about a week after the shooting. We saw where the victims fell. We saw the damage throughout the school. I saw where my daughter held her friend and classmate while gunfire erupted outside her classroom door. Alderman Hanson said there was no threat to anyone outside of just a particular individual. By saying there was no greater threat to everyone in the school, Alderman Hanson minimized the terror and danger our children and teachers faced on that awful day. Every single person in that building was hunted by the shooter. The only reason there were not more victims is because of the swift and heroic actions of the Covenant teachers and staff took to get the children properly sheltered and hidden when it was immediately understood what was taking place. We parents owe them more than we can ever hope to repay, and we love them all. Alderman Hanson stood by her false claims when she was a guest on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7. Mr. Murphy rightfully called her out on the cruelty of an elected official spreading hurtful and slanderous lies about such a tragedy and everyone involved. She attempted to insulate her culpability for such heinous comments by pointing out the fact that the attack happened in Nashville. Yes, it happened in Nashville, but I'm here to also tell you how it happened in Franklin and how it continues to happen in Franklin as it's played out through the PTSD of our children and us parents. It happens every day when our children are frightened and re-traumatized when they hear a loud noise at the supermarket or a restaurant, or a car backfires, or a gun is fired at a track meet to start a race. It happens every night when our children don't want to sleep alone because they are scared. And this still happens 6 weeks after the attack. It happens as we parents go to counseling to try to find some way to cope with the horror we experienced on March 27th, not knowing if our children were alive. I think it's an abomination that an elected official would have the audacity to spread unfounded gossip and conspiracy theories about such an unspeakable tragedy suffered by many of her fellow citizens. The only reason I can think as to why she did this was to further her political career. The citizens of Franklin deserve better. Every resident that put a red ribbon on their mailbox or a Covenant sign in their yard, they deserve better. The 13 Covenant students that live in Franklin deserve better. The 15 individual parents of those children deserve better. The 5 Covenant faculty members, heroes, who live in Franklin deserve better. And let me remind you that one of the adult victims of this tragedy was a longtime Franklin resident. Her family deserves better. Alderman Hanson should resign. But if she will not, we ask that this board do something for the cruel defamation of our community, which was so unnecessary. Thank you.
Like to ask just to take a moment of silence, and because we all continue to pray for those families of Covenant, and we pray for their healing, and we pray for the families of those that lost loved ones. So if you just join me in a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Are there any communications from the Williamson County Commission? I have none. If not, we'll go straight to the approval of the minutes from April 25th, 5 p.m. work session and the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting.
I'll move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Berger.
Second.
Alderman Brown, second. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. I'm now going to go down for some proclamations. And the first proclamation I have is to recognize Steve Moore. And I'd ask Steve and his wife, Charmian, to come up. You can get close. So-
Your reputation's out there.
Number one, he's not kin to me, so, okay. Whereas Steve Moore, a longtime pillar in the Franklin community, has devoted the past 25 years volunteering his time and resources to help vulnerable children in Guatemala receive quality medical care, and whereas Steve Moore spent his career in the music industry, working primarily as a tour promoter in the rock, country, and Christian music sectors, and whereas he's the former CEO of the Country Music Association and served on the Country Music Association Board of Directors. His innovation and successes within the music industry have earned him 3 SRO awards for Promoter of the Year. Whereas Steve has been a longtime humanitarian and founded the Shalom Foundation in 2012, a nonprofit based here in Franklin, Tennessee, which funds a pediatric surgical center for underprivileged children in Guatemala City. The name of this children's hospital is called the Moore Center in his honor. Whereas no one in the history of Guatemala has achieved the level of success his foundation has in helping vulnerable children receive holistic care in so many areas of health and wellness, which is why he was named a Peace Ambassador in 2017 by the Ministry of International Affairs in Guatemala. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, hereby thank Steve for his distinguished service and extend to him our best wishes for continued success in all of his future endeavors. Let's go up here now. And with Steve is Kaylin Santos and her husband Mitch. Kaylin is executive director of the foundation. And the next proclamation is Building Safety Month. Got some ties on. Well, almost everybody is.
Oh, I don't recognize them for their jackets.
He looks around.
around you.
Oh, that's scary.
It's a good-looking group.
I feel safe now. Whereas the city of Franklin recognizes that our growth and strength depends on the safety and essential role of our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play both in everyday life and when disasters strike. Whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of dedicated professionals, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these professionals are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown protectors of public safety, our local code officials who assure us of safe and sustainable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas it starts with you, the theme for Building Safety Month 2023 encourages all of us to raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, global scale. And whereas each year in the observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local and state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, do hereby proclaim the month of May as Building Safety Month.
All right.
Good evening. Thank you all for the recognition. I just want to take a quick moment to introduce the two gentlemen with me who are far more important to building safety than I am. I think most of you know them, but I'll take the chance. This is Rodney Prince. He is our Assistant Director for Building Services. So he oversees all of our technical experts involved in plan review and inspections in the field. This is Roger Lehman. He is one of our two inspection supervisors, overseeing the guys out in the field every day, doing anywhere from 85 to 105 inspections a day, helping everyone from the homeowner trying to do a project on their own to the contractors and developers who are building the large multi-million-dollar office buildings that you see going up around town. Two very important individuals among others in the department. We just thank you for your support on a regular basis. Through the International Code Council, you know, these guys require a lot of certifications and a lot of continuing education to be certified to do what they do. And you all have always provided the support we needed to do that. And also the support we get on a regular basis. Sometimes the answers we give are not what people want to hear, but you all have always been patient and listened and heard our side of the story and heard our side of the code and supported us as we do our work, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Tom, you need to give your name and your position, because there are people watching at home.
I'm Tom Marsh. I am actually the Director of the Building and Neighborhood Services Department. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. Must be the big bunch of them. All right, there you go. We get to walk, drill around in our chairs, don't we? Like that jacket.
And next is Travel and Tourism Week. Oh, good. We've been celebrating this all day. We started out with the Ambassador Program, and then trolley tour, and then a little party. And now it's time to wrap it up with, not wrap it up, but at least celebrate travel and tourism. Lauren Ward and Mental Block, Maureen Haley Thornton, thank you. So listen up to this proclamation. Whereas the city of Franklin has a strong and broad-based tourism industry, including historic sites and attractions, charming downtown areas, outstanding lodging and dining facilities, first-class meeting venues, and unique and distinctive shopping, and unparalleled scenic beauty. And whereas each year Williamson County attracts visitors from across the United States and several foreign nations for leisure, business, meeting, and sports-related travel. And whereas the latest tourism information released by the state of Tennessee for 2021 showed that the hospitality industry enjoyed approximately 7,540 in Williamson County. Whereas the same report shows that 55.31 million in direct state taxes were collected countywide, with $152,000 collected in daily states taxes countywide. And whereas with 1.04 billion with a B, direct visitor spending, or $2.8 million daily expenditures by visitors, Williamson County ranks sixth in the state of Tennessee in visitor spending. And whereas a result of these tourism received revenues, the average Williamson County household saves $1,111 in state and local taxes on an annual basis. And whereas it is important to continue to communicate that growing travel leads to economic growth and benefits businesses in Williamson County, now therefore I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, hereby proclaim May 7th through the 13th as Travel and Tourism Week, and encourage all residents to join me in recognizing the critical role this plays in the city of Franklin. Ask all their friends to visit Franklin on a regular basis and spend lots of money.
I'll excuse you for the mental block because I know you've been stuck with me. Mayor Moore, we've been fortunate to have Mayor Moore as our board chair the last 2 years, and appreciate your support and guidance, as well as the support of you all as our elected board. Alderman Blanton and Eric Stuckey, also members of our board. And so we appreciate you, the support you give our organization and our work, and we're thrilled to do that work to bring people to experience our community, leave their dollars behind, and head back home and not use our other resources. So thank you all for your support. And we invite you and everyone else who live in Williamson County to come and visit us in the Visitor Center. I'm sure even if you've lived here a long time, you're bound to find something new to learn about our place that we live in, to explore. So thank you so much.
That's great.
And lastly, we have a proclamation for Mental Health Awareness Month. It's observed nationally every May to raise awareness for mental health issues, decreasing the stigma surrounding it and encouraging those suffering to seek help. And whereas mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, it affects how we think, feel, and act. It also affects how we handle stress, relates to others, and make choices. And whereas millions of Americans face the reality of living with a mental health condition, and whereas the National Alliance on Mental Health Illness is launching the More Than Enough campaign to uplift and empower all people to feel that they are more than enough and are inherently worthy of life, love, and healing. And whereas it is important to increase conversations surrounding mental health, and whereas Franklin can be a healthier, happier place to be for every resident by increasing education surrounding mental health and encouraging those who are struggling to seek help. And now, therefore, I, Dr. Ken Moore, Mayor of the City of Franklin, do hereby proclaim the month of May as Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're now going to go to the consent agenda, unless there's some miscellaneous reports. And go ahead with the miscellaneous report.
I have a couple things real quick while you're coming back up. This is Public Service Recognition Week. Sorry, no proclamation. But it is a week where we recognize the work of public servants, public employees across the country, but especially in our community. We have about 780 dedicated folks that are part of our city team. And so we have the opportunity to thank them this week. We're having some fun with some food truck lunches today, tomorrow, and Thursday for our team, but appreciate what they do. Often unheralded, you don't know that it happens, but you know if it's missing. And those folks are dedicated 24/7 to help serve our community. So want to thank those our team and recognize that this is a special week to think about the contributions our public servants make. So thanks to our city team. Join me. This upcoming week is Law Enforcement Memorial Week. And yesterday evening, the Williamson County FOP held their annual Law Enforcement Memorial service, and that took place here in downtown Franklin. But there'll be a national event next Monday. Part of that recognition we're sad about, but we are honored to make the recognition. Police Officer 2 Jeff Carson will be added to the National Police Memorial. Jeff was also added to the local memorial last night. Jeff was a great team member. He passed away about a year ago, shortly after completing his shift, and suffered a heart attack and passed away. Jeff served our community for over 14 years as a police officer. Just a wonderful teammate, wonderful person with a great heart for the community. Jeff was also a chart-topping country artist before he became a Franklin police officer. So he's a man of many talents, and he's greatly missed every day. But we're honored. Team members from the city of Franklin, from our honor guard, will be in the Washington, D.C. area as Jeff's name is added to that memorial. They will escort Jeff's family in that recognition as well. So we want to keep that in mind and are grateful for Jeff's service among us. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the consent agenda, and all items under the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial and routine in nature by the governing body. They'll be approved as recommended by committee or staff by one motion of the governing body. We're looking at items 8 through 15. I would consider a motion. Thank you, Alderman Berger, seconded by Alderman Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, ready to vote. Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We'll now go to item number 6, which is ordinance 2023-10 to rezone 21.24 acres from Plan PD 11.35 per 12,320 district to Plan PD 11.35 per 17,320 district for the property located south of Oak Meadow Drive and east of South Royal Oaks Boulevard. The applicant has asked that this be deferred to August the 8th. So I would entertain that motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Seconded by Alderman Potts, a motion by Alderman Blanton. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item number 7 is consideration of liquor license for Red Dog Wine and Spirits, Inc., 1031 Riverside Drive, number A, Franklin, Tennessee.
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Berger. Seconded by Alderman Potts. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. I need a motion to go into executive
moved.
session. Thank you. Seconded by the Vice Mayor. All in favor say aye.
What don't I know? on purpose.
Are there any actions to consider from the executive session? Alderman Potts.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you, sir. I move to approve the mediation result obtained in the City of Franklin versus W.L. Haley et al., Chancery Court docket number 46766, settling the city's case against Smith, Seckman, Reed for $1,350,000, and authorize the city administrator to execute an appropriate settlement agreement resolving the case.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Baggett. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
There's something I missed? Oh, okay, good. You're looking at, passes unanimously. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you, Alderman Brown. Is there a second?
I got through off.
Second by Alderman Blanton. All in favor, say aye. We're adjourned.
I think she was just ready to leave.
Oh.
Done.